All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about something called the Genesis methodology. And really, it's a whole new way of thinking about how we work with AI. We're moving past just chatting with a single model and into a world where you are the conductor of a whole team of them.
This is a question we should probably all be asking ourselves. When you ask an AI for an idea or to write some code or really for anything, you're putting a lot of trust in that single answer. But are you sure you're getting the full picture? Are you sure it's not missing something huge? And this right here is the perfect way to think about it. Relying on one AI, no matter how smart it seems, is kind of like getting life advice from just one friend. You're getting their perspective, their biases, and yeah, you're inheriting all of their blind spots without even realizing it. So this brings us to this idea of an AI echo chamber. It's this situation where the way we interact with a single AI can actually create hidden and sometimes pretty serious flaws in what we get back. Let's break down exactly what those flows are. First up, you've got model-specific bias and a total lack of critical thinking. Because let's be real, an AI can't really argue with itself. That can lead to things like hallucinations, when the AI just confidently makes stuff up. And of course, you're only ever getting one very limited perspective. But the big technical problem? The memory bottleneck. These models are stateless, which is just a fancy way of saying they have no long-term memory. It makes working on a big, long-term project almost impossible.
So, if the problem is relying on a single AI mind, what's the solution? Well, you build a whole council of them. And that is the absolute core idea behind the Genesis methodology. We're talking about a huge shift from a simple chat to a really structured, collaborative team of AIs. The whole idea is summed up perfectly here. True objectivity and really solid ideas are best achieved when you're directing a council of diverse, heterogeneous AI models. Now, the keywords there are diverse and heterogeneous. This isn't about getting 5 identical AIs to agree. It's about getting AIs with different training, different strengths, maybe even from different companies, to debate and challenge and build on each other's work. This brings us to a really fascinating problem they had to solve, what they call the orchestrator paradox. So remember that memory bottleneck we talked about? LLMs are stateless. They have no memory of past projects. So how on earth do you build something complex over weeks or months if your team literally forgets everything the second you close the window? And the solution is just so elegant, and honestly, it puts the human right back in the driver's seat. You become the memory, the human orchestrator. By saving the outputs, by deciding which AI gets what information next, by basically keeping track of the project's history, you provide that long-term memory that the AI system just doesn't have. Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? Well, the methodology gives us a super clear 5-step process. It's a loop, a cycle of creating, critiquing, and making things better. Here's the 30,000-foot view of the whole thing. See how it all flows? An idea gets generated, then it's challenged, then it's checked against real-world facts, and then it's all put back together. And look what's right in the middle, guiding everything, the human orchestrator. That's you. Let's walk through this cycle. Step 1 is conceptualization. You have a generator AI create a first draft of an idea. Step 2 is scrutiny. You bring in a different AI to act as a devil's advocate. Its only job is to poke holes in the concept and find all its weaknesses. Step 3, validation. A third AI, one that's great at research, goes out and checks the idea against actual data. Step 4 is synthesis. Yet another AI takes the original idea, the critique, the research, and merges it all into a new, much stronger version. And finally, step 5, orchestration. This is where you come in. You review everything, you make refinements, and you decide, do we run this cycle again, or is it ready? Now, the coolest part about this is that it wasn't some theory dreamed up in a classroom. The Genesis methodology was actually discovered in the real world, out of necessity, while trying to build a ridiculously complex AI system. This entire process came to light during the construction of a massive project called Y-Sensei AI, which they nicknamed the Dream. And the method that came out of building it was so effective that they decided to formalize it, to productize it into a framework called VerifiMind-PEAS, or the engine, so that anyone could use this powerful workflow. And check out this timeline. It shows just how incredibly fast this all came together. The whole thing, from the very start of the project to the public release of the method, took just 87 days. And you can see that key moment on September 5th, the crystal balls align breakthrough. That was the aha moment when this intuitive process of using multiple models started to feel like a real, repeatable system.
But then, on November 16th, something truly wild happened. They gave an outside AI, one called Kimi K2, access to the project's public code. With no hints, no special prompting, it analyzed everything and, on its own, basically described the Genesis methodology. I mean, think about that. It's a third-party validation from another AI. It confirmed this was a real, discoverable thing. So, what does this all mean? Well, it really points to a massive change in how we're going to work with AI. It's about evolving from someone who just uses a tool to someone who orchestrates a whole symphony of intelligence. This table really puts it all into perspective. Using just one AI model, sure, it's simple and fast, but it's loaded with potential for bias and hallucinations. Then you have these automated multi-agent systems. They can scale, but they often use the same kind of AI, so you're not getting true diversity of thought. The Genesis approach? Yeah, it's a bit more complex, a bit more work, but its incredible strength is in creating stuff that is super high quality and incredibly robust, all because it keeps a human right in the loop. So let's just boil it all down. This new way of working gives you 4 massive advantages. You reduce bias because you're using a diverse team of AIs. You make your ideas way stronger by building in a critique phase. You ground your concepts in actual evidence. And, what might be the most important part, you keep human judgment and intuition right at the heart of everything. The people behind this research wrap it all up with this really powerful statement. The idea that we can tackle the world's hard problems just by chatting with a single AI, well, that idea is quickly becoming a thing of the past. The future is just more complex, and it requires a more critical approach. And that really leaves us with this final thought. We're all just getting used to the idea of having a single AI as a collaborator. But what happens? What becomes possible when you're not just a user anymore, but the conductor of an entire orchestra of intelligence? Just imagine what you could build then.